What's up, YouTube? What's up, you boxing maniacs? True That Boxing, back with another one. And before I get into it, y'all already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button if you already haven't. Hit that bell icon there to the right. Hit all so you can be notified on all the boxing content and all the boxing news that I drop. And do not forget to throw a straight and true jab right at that like button. You either like it or you don't like it, but let's try to get these likes up. And this is a boxing news station, so let your hands go. Let your hands go up or down. Just let them go. So let's get into it. This past weekend, we had a very entertaining fight, very entertaining chess match with WBO champion Terence Crawford versus Kell Brook. The fight was very entertaining. The first, second round, it was like a chess match. Kell Brook had a nice, strong and straight and true jab coming right at Terence Crawford. He had the longer jab, and they were snapping fast jabs. Same with Terence Crawford. He was trying to throw a nice jab. He started off in the conventional stance. He tried to throw a nice jab with Kell Brook, but Kell Brook was waiting for Terence Crawford to come in. He was just throwing that nice jab, and he had that one nice stance that he was normally fighting in. He didn't really switch it up, but he was looking very good the first, second round, and he was waiting for Crawford to come in so he can catch him with that 1-2 and a hook or an uppercut that Kell Brook normally throws. And Terence Crawford knew that he was waiting for him to come in. So Terence Crawford said, well, let me go ahead and jab with him. And I'll wait for Kell Brook to come in, and I'll catch Kell Brook coming in. That never did happen. So it was like a chess match the first and second round. Terence Crawford switched it up to a southpaw position in the third round, and he started touching Kell Brook. Now, when Terence Crawford go into that southpaw position, that means he sees something, and he knows that he has to switch stance because he sees either that if I can do this to him in my weak stance, which is the conventional stance, I turn southpaw, my strong stance, I can touch him up. Smart thinking, Terence Crawford. So he starts off in his conventional stance. He touched him once or two with a jab. So he went over to his southpaw. He said, if I could touch him 1-2 with a jab, drop his jab hand down and come over it with a nice jab, and I could start touching him. And that's what he did the third round, and he caught him in the fourth round and got him out of there. He got Kell Brook out of there in the fourth round. Terence Crawford switched from conventional to southpaw in the third. He felt him real good in the third. He said, oh yeah, I got this. Fourth round came. He got him out of there. Okay. End of the fight. Kell Brook looked very good, very entertaining. He's very sharp. There was a comment by Earl Spence stating that Kell Brook is not the same fighter as he was when he fought Earl Spence. He's just a shell of that fighter. They went all 12 rounds, Earl Spence and Kell Brook, which was a really grueling fight. Kell Brook was actually getting with Earl Spence Jr. He was landing a lot of shots on Earl Spence. Earl Spence weathered the storm, and he finished him in the 12th round. Very entertaining fight, but I give it up to Kell Brook because Kell Brook was banging with Earl Spence, and he was getting with Earl Spence. And when Kell Brook fought Triple G, he was touching Triple G up. He had Triple G's face red. Looked it very, very good when he fought Triple G. Triple G ended up getting him out of there around the 6th round. But Kell Brook looked good, and he looked good against Terence Crawford. But when Terence Crawford switched over to southpaw, he put that heat on him, and he couldn't handle that heat. He couldn't handle that smoke. It was a wrap. So Earl Spence says he was just a shell of a fighter once when he fought him. You can't take nothing from Kell Brook. Kell Brook looked sharp. He looked good. He just got caught, by the pound-for-pound welterweight champion, which is the WBO champion, Terence Crawford. He got caught by him. What do you expect? So Kell Brook didn't make no excuses. I take my hat off to Kell Brook. Salute. Much respect. He didn't make no excuses. He said he lost that fight fair and square. Fair and square. No shoulder injuries. Kell Brook came in, said Terence Crawford was just a better man that night. So I give it up to Kell Brook, because Kell Brook didn't make no excuses, and Kell Brook looked good. Can't take nothing away from Kell Brook. His eye sockets wasn't injured. He was in good shape. Now, another question was asked to Terence Crawford after the fight. Well, who would you want next? Bob Arum had to be standing next to Terence Bud Crawford, and it was an awkward situation with Terence Crawford and Bob Arum during the time of the fight. During that question was asked to Terence Crawford, now who do you want next? And Terence Crawford said, I want Pacquiao or Earl Spence next. Now, they said, well, how you going to make that fight happen? Bob Arum said he will make that fight happen with Pacquiao or Terence Crawford next. Now, if you guys been paying attention to the media and the boxing news and everything, Terence Crawford has been trying to get big fights, and all the big fighters are with Al Haymon on PBC. You got Keith Thurman, you got Danny Garcia, you got Earl Spence, you got Sean Porter, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. All the top fighters are with PBC. Terence Bud Crawford is on the outside of the window looking in, talking about how come I can't get the fight, because he's across the pond with Top Rank with Bob Arum, and Bob Arum is not getting him the fights that he needs. So Terence Bud Crawford wants to leave Bob Arum if he cannot produce the big fights that he wants. And he was told, Bob Arum, that he will go to PBC, which is Al Haymon, and then he'll be able to get those fights with those big guys. He will, but Terence Bud Crawford been so faithful to Bob Arum. He still haven't left Bob Arum. Bob Arum is promising he's going to get him a big fight with Earl Spence or Top Rank next. Before the COVID-19, the money was in Manny Pacquiao's hand. The fight was getting ready to materialize with Manny Pacquiao and Bud Crawford. That fight didn't materialize because of the COVID-19. So Terence Bud Crawford's been staying faithful with Bob Arum, because Bob Arum has been trying to come through, but things just haven't quite seemed to materialize. But I do see Bob Arum keeping Terence Bud Crawford, making him happy. Everybody's happy. I do feel that Bob Arum will lose money if he let Terence Crawford go, so he might as well try to hold on to Terence Crawford and make him happy and give him the fights that he wants. And if that does not materialize, Terence Bud Crawford will go to PBC, Al Haymon, and leave Top Rank. Another question was asked to Bud Crawford. So, do you think Kell Brook was your toughest fight? Terence Bud Crawford said, no. I believe my last fight with the Mean Machine was my toughest fight. That was when Terence Crawford either got knocked down or pushed down. But either way it go, Terence Crawford got up and finished the Mean Machine in dramatic fashion and knocked him out. But we'll see if he stays with Bob Arum. Terence Crawford stated that the Mean Machine is a lot more skillful and a lot more better than Kell Brook. Kell Brook was very sharp, but once he figured him out, he broke him down in the 4th round. Mean Machine took a little bit longer to figure out in the breakdown, but he did it in dramatic fashion. That's pretty much all I have for you guys with Kell Brook and Terence Bud Crawford. Terence Bud Crawford is the man right now. If he doesn't get that fight with Earl Spence or Manny Pacquiao, he will be leaving Top Rank. He will be leaving Bob Arum, and he will be going to PBC with Al Haymon. He's been very faithful with Bob Arum, so we'll see what happens. Sean Porter said he's seen a loophole in Terence Bud Crawford when he was fighting Kell Brook, and Sean Porter, Showtime Sean Porter, said he can beat Terence Crawford. Sean Porter stated that he's the type of fighter that he does not allow his opponent to think, to fill him out. He goes in there and he's real aggressive, and you either gonna figure it out or you're not gonna figure it out quickly. Terence Crawford is a slow starter, but once he figures you out and break you down, he figures you out and he dissects you. So Showtime Sean Porter said he can beat WBO champion pound for pound Terence Bud Crawford, but I don't know. And I don't see that fight materializing, because the fight that Terence Bud won is Manny Pacquiao or Earl Spence. That's pretty much all I have for you guys. No boxing, no life. Peace out, and I'm on to the next. Deuces.